What is going on, and welcome back to another episode of I Coach Nutrition Radio. Today, I'm going to dive into my all-time favorite book. This is a book that I literally recommend to every single client that I work with. I either buy the book and send it to them, or I have them download it on Audible to read. But it is kind of jokingly, but not jokingly, a required reading for every single client that I work with. The reason why is that it is literally the foundation to what I do working with clients one-on-one and helping them to build good habits, right? And get rid of bad habits or improve on bad habits. And ultimately, our habits dictate our life, right? And our habits dictate our ability to, again, go from where we are today to becoming the person that we want to become and accomplishing the goals that we want to accomplish. So this book, and if you've been following the podcast here for a while, you've probably heard me mention it many, many times. But if you haven't read this book, I cannot recommend it anymore, right? As we're coming into this new year, 2023, this is an opportunity for you to read this book, right? Reread this book. It's an opportunity for you to really reflect on what this book means and the science, the psychology of behavior change, and ultimately challenging yourself and asking yourself, what are the habits that are preventing you from becoming the person that you want to become, to reach your God-given potential in life, to accomplish the goals that you want to accomplish, right? What are your current good habits that have helped you to get to where you are today and have helped you to accomplish, many positive things there in your life? And so this book is called Atomic Habits. It's by James Clear. And I want to share essentially the 10 things that this book will teach you. All right. And so this book will help you to learn how to build a system for getting 1% better every day. This book will help you to break your bad habits and stick to good ones. This book will help you to avoid the common mistakes most people make when changing habits. This book will help you to overcome a lack of motivation and willpower. This book will help you to develop a stronger identity and believe in yourself. This book will help you to make time for new habits, even when life gets crazy. This book will help you to design your environment to make success easier. This book will make tiny, easy changes that deliver big results. And this book will help you to get back on track when you get off course. And most importantly, this book will help you learn how to put these ideas into practice in real life. Now, the reason why I share this book and why I honestly cannot recommend it enough is because I've literally read this now 9 times. I'll read it again here for the new year, so that'll make 10 times that I've read this book. And I can't recommend it enough. I mean, it's literally one of, if not the best book that I've ever read in my life. And when I first started in this fitness and nutrition field, over 10 years ago, I had a client who was also a mentor for me, especially in these early years. I mean, I was 21 years old. And he shared with me, so he's a multimillionaire. And I basically asked him, I was like, man, like, how did you get to where you are today? Like, how did you become successful? And he really encouraged me in the fact that, personal development is one of the best things that you possibly can do. And when I say personal development, I mean reading personal development books, right? Listening to personal development podcasts and audiobooks. And for me, I was dyslexic my whole life, and I still am, right? Reading a physical copy of a book is extremely hard for me to do. It takes me a lot longer than most people. But when I was in college, I learned that if I listened to recordings of my classes, if I listened to audiobooks, if I listened to podcasts, I retained that information so much better than if I tried to read a book or read a textbook, right? And for those of you that don't know, when you have dyslexia, some of the things that you do is you essentially, you can be reading, you can read words backwards, you can skip lines, you can skip paragraphs. Like, my wife could read a book probably 3 times before I could finish it once, right? And so when he told me that reading personal development books is kind of the key to success here, I was encouraged by that, and that, it's kind of up to me to put in the work to make that a priority. But I was also discouraged by the fact that I sucked at reading books, right? Either way, what I did is I went home that night. He had given me a list of about 50 books, 50 personal development books. They're still sitting right here on my bookshelf today. And what I did that night is I went home and I literally bought all of them. And I came back that next day to the gym and I said, I bought them. And he goes, what do you mean you bought them? I was like, I bought them. I bought the personal development books that you recommended. He's like, you bought all of them? And I was like, yeah, every single one of them. He's like, wow. He's like, I didn't expect you to go out and buy all of them. And I was like, well, I'm going to read them all eventually. And 10 years later, which I have, right? But the reality of it is I asked a question and he gave me an answer. And this is something that happens a lot with successful people. People ask them questions, right? They get an answer, but people don't take action, right? The information is out there everywhere, but the magic is in the application. You have to actually take that information and apply it to your life. You have to actually put in the work. All right. And that's how I look at personal development books. There is so much value in these books. There's so much information that you can retain and be able to apply to your life. But ultimately, I could give somebody this recommendation like I'm giving you now and tell you how much it's changed my life and the lives of so many of my clients that I've worked with. And you're going to hear this. Maybe you even download it or buy the book, but then you don't actually read it. Right. And unfortunately, this happens more times than not. So I'm going to challenge you with, encourage you with, like, please don't be a statistic here. Like, take action, take this recommendation and read this book. It will absolutely change your life. And as we're moving into the new year here, right? New Year's goals and all of these types of things. This is the perfect book to read before you set your 2023 goals and intentions, right? So I'm going to leave us off here with two quotes from two people that read this book. So number one was from Mark Manson, who's a #1 New York Times bestseller, selling author. He wrote the book, which is also a phenomenal book. That's called The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. Highly recommend that book as well. But he said, this is a supremely practical and useful book. James Clear distills the most fundamental information about habit formation, so you can accomplish more by focusing on less. And then one more quote here. This is from Arianna Huffington, who is the founder of the Huffington Post and Thrive Global. She said that this was one of my all-time favorite books. So look, if you don't take it from me, take it from these two very, very influential people. This is a #1 book on New York Times, the Wall Street Journal, Amazon, Audible. So again, highly, highly recommend. It is Atomic Habits by James Clear. Tiny changes, remarkable results, and is an easy and proven way to build good habits and break bad ones. So read this book. Shoot me a message here or a text or an email. Let me know what you think of the book once you read it. Also, I'd highly recommend going to atomichabits.com. You can subscribe to their newsletter and they will actually send you kind of a workbook, a free workbook that you can use to kind of work through this book as you're reading it, which can really help to instill this information into you. And again, we're a product of the decisions that we make. Right? Our decisions are influenced by our habits, and our habits ultimately dictate our life. So I hope you take action. I hope you read this book. If you haven't read it yet, please, 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 I encourage you to do so. It absolutely will change your life. I truly believe that. So thank you so much. Hope you all have an amazing day, and we'll chat here soon. Thanks, guys. Bye.